My parents told me I was paying fair market rent to live in their basement. For 10 years, I handed over $3,500 every single month, thinking I was adulting responsibly. Last month, a casual conversation with a neighbor shattered that illusion. What I discovered next changed everything. And it wasn't just shocking, it was liberating. If you've ever felt betrayed by someone you trusted, hit that subscribe button. Like this video and comment if you believe in justice. Because this story isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming what's rightfully yours. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. Growing up, my relationship with my parents was complicated, not terrible, not loving enough to be ideal, just a sort of conditional warmth that makes you question if your loyalty and obedience are ever enough. So when I moved back into the basement after college, I didn't think twice about paying rent. My parents told me, with all the authority of people who had raised me, that $3,500 a month was fair. They even explained how it reflected the value of the space, the utilities, and the privacy I enjoyed. At first, it felt normal. I was independent, contributing to the household, and in my mind, adulting meant paying your way even if the landlord was your mother. But over the years, that normalcy became a heavy, almost invisible weight. $3,500 a month isn't small change. It adds up to $42,000 a year. Over 10 years? $420,000. I didn't calculate it at first. I was too busy trusting that my parents were being fair. I should have known better. Then came the day that changed everything. I ran into Mrs. Whitman, our neighbor, as she was tending her garden. She smiled at me warmly and said, "Your parents must be so proud, owning that house outright." I smiled back, masking the flicker of confusion. "Outright?" I asked. "Yes. No mortgage. They own it free and clear." And just like that, a decade of blind trust crumbled in an instant. For a split second, I felt disbelief, then an icy wave of anger. My mind raced. Wait, what? If they own it outright, why was I paying $3,500 every month? I could have invested that money, bought my own place, built something for myself. I left Mrs. Whitman's yard with my hands trembling and my heart pounding. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every interaction, every conversation where my parents casually dropped phrases like, "That's market rate, sweetie," or "This is just what adults do." The betrayal wasn't just financial, it was personal. It was the violation of trust, the silent suggestion that I was naive enough to never question them. I knew I couldn't just confront them without proof. I needed numbers, records, undeniable evidence. So, the very next day, I hired a forensic accountant, someone who could dig through years of financials, statements, and legal records to uncover the truth. Working with the accountant was surreal. I watched as the spreadsheets unfolded, mortgage records, tax statements, even property appraisals. It was as I feared. My parents had no mortgage for years, sometimes even decades. They had been collecting tens of thousands from me, month after month, on a basement they fully owned. I felt a strange mix of validation and rage. I was right. I wasn't imagining it. And now, I had a way to act not impulsively, but smartly, legally, and decisively. Planning the confrontation took time. I couldn't just yell or demand the money back, it had to be precise, almost theatrical, so they felt the weight of their deceit. I consulted the accountant on the exact totals, including inflation adjustments and interest I could have earned. By the end, I had a figure that was staggering, close to $500,000. Then came the emails, the meetings, the subtle but firm reminders of the evidence. I sent them a professional letter detailing everything, the years of overpayment, the proof that the basement was fully theirs, and the accountant's report. I made it clear that I wanted restitution, not out of malice, but out of justice. And that's when the game changed. At first, my parents tried the classic deflection. "It's just rent. You agreed to it," my father said. My mother added, "We were teaching you responsibility. But the numbers didn't lie. The documents didn't lie." I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat across from them, calm, my hands folded, letting the weight of reality sink in. I watched their expressions shift from mild annoyance to disbelief, and finally to fear. They realized I wasn't bluffing, that I had meticulously gathered proof, and that I understood the full scope of their deceit. I could almost hear the excuses scrambling in their heads, but I didn't let them speak. I offered a way out, a structured repayment plan. It was generous, more than what they might have expected, but my conditions were non-negotiable. I wanted acknowledgement of the wrongdoing and transparency moving forward. I wanted them to understand that trust, once broken, isn't easily repaired. The moment they signed the papers, I felt a rush of liberation. For the first time in a decade, the basement wasn't just a physical space, it symbolized control, manipulation, and silent financial abuse. And now, I had reclaimed it. The aftermath was surreal. Family dinners were tense at first, but I stayed calm, measured, and principled. I had the moral high ground, and that shielded me from the emotional fallout. I invested the recovered money wisely, bought my own home, and even started a small business I'd been dreaming about. Every time I walked through my front door, I felt that sense of self-respect, of reclaiming power that had been quietly siphoned away for years. What struck me most wasn't the money, it was the psychology behind it. For 10 years, I was complicit in my own deception, largely because I trusted the people who were supposed to protect me. But betrayal, once uncovered, has a way of crystallizing resolve. I didn't just get financial restitution, I got clarity, strength, and an unshakable sense of independence. I also learned a subtle but crucial lesson about human nature. People will often exploit trust if given the chance, sometimes without realizing the moral weight of their actions. But meticulous evidence, calm strategy, and unwavering principles can turn that exploitation into accountability. Justice isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, surgical, and profoundly satisfying. Looking back, I understand why this story resonates with so many people. We've all been underpaid, undervalued, or betrayed in ways that feel invisible. And while revenge for revenge's sake rarely heals, targeted, thoughtful action restores something far more meaningful, our dignity. The final moment of reckoning was quiet but powerful. My parents had no words. No amount of charm or justification could erase the stacks of evidence sitting between us. I felt no glee in their discomfort, only the serene satisfaction of truth revealed. I had exposed the deception without letting anger dictate my actions. The money was recovered. The lesson was learned. I was free. And in that freedom, I discovered something unexpected. Peace. Not loud, not vengeful, but firm, grounded, and deeply rewarding. Sometimes justice isn't about theatrics, it's about clarity, preparation, and standing up for yourself in ways that leave no room for doubt. Trust, once betrayed, can be reclaimed, but only if you arm yourself with truth and patience. If you've ever been lied to by someone you trusted, share your story in the comments. Hit like if you believe justice should be measured, precise, and inevitable. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of hidden truths, exposed, and clever revenge served. Remember, truth always finds a way to the light.